Hi guys, Kelly Levine. Thank you for joining me this morning. We're going to talk about how to draw your closet. If you didn't already watch the how to take your inventory and how to measure your closet, you may want to go back and watch those first, and then this will make more sense. But otherwise, welcome. And if you're ready to draw your closet, let's get started. Okay, I think you can see that now. And so what you're looking at right now is the measurements that I took last week of my volunteer's closet. And this is a really good example because there's some ins and outs to the closet, so that'll be nice as far as trying to help you guys. I'm just trying to see if I'm live here. I think so. Okay, I don't have any volume, but I can see that it's there. Okay, cool. All right, so these were my measurements. I can't show you guys everything, and I'm going to draw it from this, so I'm going to move this up a little bit. We'll probably be able to see a little bit of both, but so I'm drawing it on the iPad, but if you didn't see, you can go on the comment section of the post for the Facebook Live, and there's a download there for this graph paper. The thing that I like about this type of graph paper is that it's 4 by 4 squares, and I don't know if you guys can see that very well, but it's 4 by 4 squares, and each square is 6 inches, so that's going to make it really easy to count out. When we measured the closet, we measured it in inches. That way it's just going to be easier to count out and draw, and so that's why I like this type of graph paper. If you have other type of graph paper, it doesn't matter. That's totally fine. And you could even use a ruler to draw it out, but then we have to talk about scale. And so if you can find a piece of graph paper or download my graph paper, that's going to be the easiest. Okay. Couple other things, just like I always say, please don't make it this harder than it has to be. We're really just counting squares. I love math, and it really is a lot of math, but this part is just counting squares. And so don't make it hard. You can, go back and watch this a million times if you want. I might kind of quickly draw out some other closets too to show you some other shapes. The thing that I want you to know about when you draw this is when we were in this closet happens to have 2 doors, but this is the main door from the bedroom right here. And so this is where I want to pretend I'm standing when I draw the closet. So the very first line that we're going to do is the far back wall from the closet. So it's going to be this line right here. Okay, so I'm just going to start drawing whatever your dimensions are of your back wall. Just take a quick look at that. And I'm going to sit down here. And then you will know what you need to do. Okay, so my first dimension is 41.5. But if you did it the same way I did and you've got 3 dimensions here, let's just go ahead and add those up quick. So 41.5 and 35 and 25.5 is 102 inches. So I'm going to write that there, 102 inches. Okay, so that's going to be my first line. Now, if I'm used to this, so I could just draw this out really quick, but I'm just going to tell you, divide that by 6, and that's 17 squares. So I need to go over 17 squares. I'm going to start, right there. You can actually, let's start on a square. So start at an intersection if you're using this paper, and then just go over 17 squares. And since these are 4, it's very easy to see that's 6, 4, 8, 12, 16, 17 squares. So that's 102 inches. And I think you guys can see that line. Yeah, it looks like you can. Okay, then I'm going to mark off where that door was because we can't use that to design the closet. So the door was 41.5 inches over. So we've got 41.5 divided by 6 is almost 7 squares. And guys, again, this doesn't have to be super precise. With these squares, I mean, we're literally talking, this is 6 by 6 here. So every inch is, you know, there's 5 other lines in there. So you know, it doesn't have to be precise to the nth degree. Get close, and that's gonna be good enough. And then we'll mark the measurement. So 41.5 inches, there's 36, there's 42. I'm going to come back just a little bit and mark that with a little line. So I know that's the start of my door. And then from this side, it was 25.5. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 is 24. And just a little bit more would be 25.5. So that's my door. If you want to, if you noted the swing of the door, which is important, you can draw that going out. This door opened into an adjoining bathroom. So you can draw that out. The reason that's important is that if this door went this way, you know, we're going to be more mindful of what we're doing right here, because the door is going to cover it at some point. Okay, let's start. Let's go to the next dimension, and mine is my 110 dimension here. So again, if you're not used to counting out, you know, feet and inches, I'm sure it's not familiar if you're not used to doing this. So just take 110 divided by 6, and you need 18 squares, close to 18.5 squares. So, okay, so here's 4, 8, 12, 16, 17, 18, and I know that that's 108 inches, and so 0.33 is 2 more inches. Okay. So it's easier if you can think in inches, but if you can't, just do the division and get close. Okay, then our next wall coming across is 77.5 inches. So this one is the main door, and when we're drawing these out, you want everything that I'm going to be talking about, you're going to want to have your main door down here, because we're going to be looking into the room. And by the way, if I didn't say it, this is a view as if you're standing above the closet looking down at it. We talked about that last week when we measured, but in case you missed that, or just to reiterate, it's as if you are on top looking down at the closet, at the floor plan of it. Okay, so the next dimension, that 77.5 inches, is gonna be, I'm not used to doing it this way, almost 13 squares. I don't want to draw this one all the way across because this was my door, and this actually isn't a door, it's just an opening. So I'm just going to go 77.5 across, and I'm just going to make a dot there so that I know where the other wall is. So again, we've got 24, 48, 72, 78. So I'm going to back up a little bit from that 78 and just put a dot there. Then I'm going to draw my 47 inches, you know, which is just shy of 8 squares. So we're going to go over just shy of 8 squares. So there's 47 inches there. On this wall, we had an obstacle, which was a light switch. It's not going to get in the way of this design, so we don't have to worry about it too much, but I did note that it's out 41.5 inches. So I'll just go out 41.5 inches. So here's 24, 36, 42. I'm just going to go just shy of 42. Light switches are 3 inches, and go over 3 inches and kind of show that I have a little light switch there. The other thing that I would normally do probably kind of sort of as I go is mark the dimensions. So this was 41 and a half. This was 25 and a half. This was 110. This one was 47, but we can only use 41 and a half because of the light switch again. Okay, so let's start on the other wall. We've got 61 inches on this side. So that's, you know, a little over 10 squares. So let's come down. Oops, I gotta get, on the iPad, you gotta get the line straight. You don't have to worry if your lines aren't straight, but I get a little nuts if my lines aren't straight. So anyway, let's go down a little more than 10 squares. That's going to give us the 61 inches. And then we're going to come back 24 inches, if you can see that there, to here. And then we're going to come back 54 and a quarter, so that's going to be 9 and a quarter squares. So now on this one, I'm not perfectly on a line, so you just kind of mark it from that spot and count down 9 squares. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9, and that doesn't seem right. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, well, let's see. Where did I go wrong? See, this is why I like to double check. Oh, I know why. Because that 54 inches actually did extend beyond. It was one of those, it wasn't a door, so that wall did go beyond there. So that's fine. Normally, in a normal closet, if there's a door, a real door here, this point here should meet up with this point because it's a continuous wall. In this case, it's not, so this is fine. Okay, so now I'm going to mark my 61 inches, my 24 inches, and my 54 and a half inches. Okay, there were no other obstacles in this closet that we needed to mark, but along these walls right here, these are going to be the main walls where we're going to, put the design of our closet. So you're going to want to make sure that there's no outlets there, that there's no vents there. I shouldn't say you're not going to want to make sure that there isn't any. When they are, you're going to want to mark them. Okay, so let's just say there was a vent on the floor here. We would, we would simply just figure out where it was and draw it in. And that can be lightly, but you just want to note where it is so that when you're putting things in the closet, it makes sense. Okay, we don't have one in this, so we'll just take that off. Now, I realize there's a lot of different shapes to closets, so let me just run over what you would do if you were drawing like a reach-in closet. Before we do that, let's mark a couple other things. One of the things that we need to know before we start to design this is the ceiling height. So I would just up here write CH equals, and in this one it happened to be 95 inches. If you've got a closet with slanted ceilings, if you've got a closet that's 108 inches high, whatever it is, write that down because you're going to use that when you decide how high you want your system to be. Okay, so we've got our measurements for this closet, and I hope you guys got yours all drawn out pretty and ready to go. Let's look at a couple other styles. So if you happen to have a reach-in closet, a typical width for those is 72 inches or 84 inches. So in that case, again, you draw it like you are standing outside the closet looking in, and let's just say it was 72 inches. So you would just draw your line, the back wall as 72 inches, and then you would have measured the side walls on the side. Those are typically around 24, so we'll just come down 24 inches on each side. And then The other thing on a reach-in closet that you need to measure is how much space does the door and the wall come out. There's usually a small wall here, and then you're going to have some kind of door. Either a bifold door, a sliding door, or French doors are the most common. I'm going to, if you've got bifold doors, you're typically going to come out, 8 to 12 inches on each side. Sometimes your pocket is really deep. I mean, I've seen some where the wall came back 36 inches. So you need to note that, especially in a reach-in closet, because you want to know how much of an opening you have. So let's just say that, this one has 12 inches on each side that's taken up by the doors. And I would just kind of draw that in like this, and you can draw some cute little bifold doors here if you want to. But that's going to tell you that you've got a 48-inch opening. And again, it's 8 squares. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so we had a 72-inch closet. We had 24-inch walls. We had a 12-inch return on each side. So that gives us 48-inch opening. So as you're looking at how you're going to design this closet when we move forward, this right here is your opening. Any kind of drawer, any kind of pull-out needs to be in this area here so that it's not hitting the side walls. Okay. Let's look at another example. If your closet happened to have a slanted wall, I'm going to just make up some dimensions here. Let's say it was 72 in the back. It was 72 this way. It came over, 50, 60 this way. And this wall was slanted. I would leave that slanted wall till the last one I drew. And then all you have to do is connect the dots. Okay, if you try to draw in the slanted wall, you won't always be sure what that angle is. And it can throw you off. Typically, the construction angles end up to be, somewhere around 135 or whatever, this type of an angle. But not always. It can be pretty tricky sometimes. So again, I would draw all of the other walls first, and then, try to draw that slanted one, whatever it might be. I hope that makes sense. If you have questions about slanted walls, put it in the comments or direct message me, because I'm happy to walk you through that. But so that's how that goes. Hi Nancy, hi Stacy, hi Bonnie. Thanks you guys for coming. I really appreciate it. If you guys have any questions, let me know. I think, really this is all we're going to do today is draw out the closet. So again, take your dimensions. Start as if you're looking at the back wall. Draw that back wall first, then the side walls. If you have a slanted wall, draw that last. Make sure you note where you've got any obstructions. And sometimes that's even wall vents. Sometimes it's plumbing hatches. There's all kinds of stuff. I've seen, central vacuum pipes and all of that kind of stuff going through closets. So whatever your obstacles are, jot those down as best you can. Okay, and then keep this for next week, because believe it or not, we are gonna start laying out some stuff. So next week you're gonna need your inventory and this, and then we're gonna talk about how to start thinking about what you need to store in your closet. Thank you so much for coming, you guys. Have a great weekend. I am off to babysit the granddaughters, so yeah, great day. Thank you so much. Take care.